Myanmar's Labour Ministry has officially lifted a 5-year ban on sending domestic helpers to Singapore. But the first batch of properly trained workers is only expected to arrive in the city-state by the end of this year. Our Myanmar correspondent Leong Wai-Kit explains what's to come.
Some women in Myanmar choose to work in Singapore as domestic workers because they see the country as a clean and safe city. What's also important is that the Singapore dollar is stronger than the Myanmar kyat. Although the government lifted the ban in March to allow women to work as domestic workers legally in Singapore, there's what some industry players describe as a grey period. Now that's because a formal structure, a formal system is yet to be set up to follow through the government's decision to lift the ban. So meanwhile, those who fly into Singapore to work as domestic workers are seen by Myanmar as half legal. That's because they've yet to go through proper structured training. Their details and documents are yet to be recorded in the government's system. And I'm told that on average, about 20 women every day fly out of Myanmar to Singapore to work as domestic workers. And so, time is ticking for this federation, which represents Myanmar's overseas workers. It has played a role in getting the Myanmar government to reconsider the ban first imposed in 2014 due to concerns of ill treatment and abuse.
Singapore is actually safe for the workers, but then they are illegally sent to these workers to Singapore and never done for the proper training, not having a skill for the language. So we have proposed to the government that we cannot let them go like this, and we have to control, we have to interfere for this.
In early March, the government lifted the ban, and that includes Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong and Macau. But the work is not complete. The authorities want to formalize a deal that involves key parties in Myanmar and Singapore.
Now we are planning to signing a MOU with one of the associations in Singapore, but we cannot decide yet which association will be. After that, we will make a proper channel, like a joint together, 3 of us, Singapore Association, our association, as well as our government, to control all this, their documents, their standard skill.
At least 3 non-governmental organizations in Singapore have touched base with the Myanmar authorities, each hoping to ink the deal exclusively. One of them is the AES, short for the Association of Employment Agencies, which is seen as this federation's counterpart in Singapore. The other NGO is linked to Singapore's labour movement, the Centre for Domestic Employees. The third is FAST, a charity that supports and trains domestic helpers working in Singapore. Mr. Mamang Zormin says the Labour Ministry is likely to take up to a month to look through the details of the MOU. They'll then choose an NGO to work with. The proposed training centre will be ready before the end of the year. Women will be trained properly in work skills and taught their legal rights. And more importantly, the centre will also record their personal data before they go overseas.
And we can check their age, because previously we have found out, a lot of problems is their age. They lie the age and the date of birth and their documents, that's it. And another thing is we have contact with their family, and before we send to the workers, we have a proper standard. Like they must have an agreement with their family.
Currently, NGOs in Singapore say there are about 50,000 domestic workers working in the country. They're treated as legal workers in Singapore because the domestic helpers produce proper work permits submitted with the help of agents from Myanmar. Leong Wai-Kit, CNA, Yangon.